Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. All XRP holders must watch this whole video. This was made during a live show. We always make our videos during a live show, so always make sure you're subscribed so you can pop in when it's live. But this will still be relevant as long as you're watching in the month of August. So, what are we going to talk about today, and why do I say you need to watch this if you're an XRP holder? Well, I've got some updates on Blackrock. I think an explosion for XRP is imminent. So far, we have been pretty much spot on with many of our predictions we've made live on the show. And one of those predictions was the top at $3.50, $3.60, once that we saw that double top occur, and what is happening so far in the month of August. So now I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen for the rest of August, but more importantly, what I think is going to happen in September and October. So without wasting any more of your time, we are going straight into the news, my thoughts, my opinions, but remember, nothing I say is financial advice. This is my thoughts and opinions only, so please do not buy or sell based off anything I say. If you are watching and you are an XRP holder, I want all of you to make sure you hit the like button. If you're watching live, tell me what your average price is for your XRP purchases. If you're watching later on, then make sure you put it in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're coming up to 100,000 subscribers, and we are going to be doing a giveaway for everyone who is subscribed, and there will be tickets available. It's free to enter, free for all, and I'll explain more about that later on in the video, or you can find the details in the description. So, we are coming up to the end of the bull run. In my opinion, the bull run, and this is a sort of a global opinion if you look at the crypto cycles, we are at the last stage of the bull run. This is getting serious now. You need to have your strategies in place. You need to be prepared for what's coming up, and that's why I'm doing this video. I think that by the end of 2026, we'll be in a bear market. By the end of 2026, we'll be in a bear market. I think that bear market will probably start anytime from December of 2025, so in the next few months, until maybe January, February of 2026. I think in the next 5 months we will peak and we will crash. And in between that is when I will be taking my profits for the majority of my crypto holdings. The majority of my crypto holdings is invested in XRP. I do have other tokens, Flare, HBAR, XLM, Ethereum, a little bit of Ethereum. I've been buying some Ethereum Classic. I've been holding some Songbird. I've been buying some ADA recently on that before that pop. I do have some altcoins. They probably make up 20% of my portfolio, but I'm mainly in XRP, and I don't really hold that many stocks or other assets. I'm a very high risk investor, and I'm prepared for what's coming. So, what is coming? Well, I can't tell you the future, but I can tell you certainly what my thoughts are. When we went on this big run here, and you can look at it on multiple XRP charts, when we went on this big run not too long ago, where we broke out of this trading pattern, this bullish pennant we formed, when we broke out of it just a couple months ago, or just last month actually, in July, the 9th, we broke out of it at $2.30 and we went all the way to $3.60. We predicted that this will happen. We covered the breakout just as it happened, and that was an amazing gain. However, even at this point, we did say $10 in 7 days is possible. If the right things came about, $10 in 7 days was certainly possible. Let me make sure I've got these tickers on the screen let me put them on the screen. Oh, not that one, this one here. That was possible, and that was a prediction I made that I was wrong about. But if you did look at the prediction, how I made it, I said I do give it an under 50% chance of happening. But the reason I made that prediction is because at the end of the bull run, if we do get that blow off top, crazy things happen. We didn't get $10 within 7 days, but at some point we will. And I think that point is coming up, and I'll tell you exactly what date I think that's all going to unfold. But we did predict this big run. It wasn't potentially as big as what could have happened, but as soon as we saw this double top occur around all-time highs and the target of this trading structure, we did then say we will be hitting $3 very quickly. The next day we did actually hit into the $3 range. We went downwards, and then I made my prediction for the month of August. And my prediction for the month of August was, in the month of August, we'll go sideways. And that's what's been unfolding. I said we'll go sideways, and it could be a pretty big range between $3 and $3.40, and potentially a liquidation wick all the way down to $2.62. We haven't got the $2.62. We got awfully close, but we didn't hit it. We went as low as $2.73. I did buy some more there. We didn't get as low as $2.62. That is still in the cards for the month of August and potentially in the beginning of September. But I think once we come into September, everything will change. And on that note, let me go into the news. Remember, all our news is in the newsletter. I'll give you the link. It's the first link in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. If you're investing in the markets, if you're investing in XRP, if you're investing in the crypto markets, stock markets, if you want to know about the macro, if you want to know about the charts, it's all in the newsletter. The link is there. You get a 1-week free trial. Do consider subscribing to that. But the big question now is BlackRock and the ETF. So remember what my thoughts are. September is going to be sideways. Let me start off with the timings, and then we'll get onto the BlackRock news. The crypto markets, let me turn that down. So let me start off with the timings, and then we'll get into the BlackRock news. So through August, XRP is likely to continue consolidating in a wide range between $2.62 and $3.50. This sets the stage for a quieter month of chop and accumulation. Moving into September, conditions could shift, with ETF decision dates drawing closer. Speculation builds, and markets often trade on anticipation. This is the classic buy the rumor phase. Prices may grind higher into SEC deadlines, with traders front-running the news. I know exactly when the XRP ETFs will get approved. And those deadlines are in October. I'll give you those exact deadlines so you know exactly what dates they are in a second. But those deadlines are coming in October. These aren't the deadlines where the SEC can extend. These are the deadlines where the SEC has to make a decision, approve or deny. I think they'll approve. We know what type of SEC, what administration's in government now. We know what type of SEC. Paul Atkins is completely different to Gary Gensler. So I'm very confident they will approve the XRP ETF, especially with the drawing of the end of the Ripple versus SEC case as well. So October, and I'll give you the dates in a second. I think the XRP ETFs will get approved. We actually have other ETFs getting approved at the same time, in my opinion. Litecoin, Solana, the dates are falling around the same region. That's why I'm speculating October, November, December could be the end, because altcoin season doesn't last that long. And I think these ETFs will lead us into altcoin season. So by October, the real catalyst arrives. The SEC faces final deadlines for multiple XRP applications alongside decisions on other altcoin products such as Solana and Litecoin. That cluster of rulings means the market will not be able to hide from the outcome, approval or denial. If approval comes through, then the announcement itself could trigger a sell the news. That's what I expect, a little sell the news dip as short-term traders take profits. But once inflows start landing, the structure bid could fuel a second wave rally that extends beyond XRP into a broader altcoin season. So that's why October matters. The SEC's calendar is packed in October. XRP leading applications from issuers like Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, Bitwise, Wisdom Tree, 21 Shares are all scheduled for mid to late October decisions. Solana filings include from Vanek and also 21 Shares also faced final deadlines in the same window, while Litecoin ETFs from Canary and Grayscale are on nearly identical timelines. We're looking at October to potentially be fueling altcoin season. That alongside that alignment makes October a super month for altcoin ETFs. If XRP is approved alongside Solana and Litecoin, the narrative shifts from Bitcoin and Ethereum only to a multi-asset ETF era. That could validate the idea that crypto ETFs are not just a one-off experiment, but expanding asset class, unlocking fresh capital and legitimacy for the sector. That's what I think can fuel this altcoin season. We'll come on to the risks in a second, but now let's go on to BlackRock, because they can have a major impact into the markets as well. They haven't filed an ETF. It's quite interesting, but I think it's as expected. BlackRock want to make sure they want to get the product. They're sort of like Apple. They're so big It doesn't matter when the product will come out, they will get the attraction. So they don't have to be first. They don't, for example, Apple, they haven't created a foldable phone yet, but Samsung, Huawei, all of these other companies have. Why? Well, they want to perfect it and make sure and let all the competitors do it, so that they come in, and whenever they come in, they'll have the perfect product and everyone will want to change their assets into their Blackrock ETF. So that's my thoughts on why they haven't done it yet. I am so certain that they will do it. But let me continue with the news story. So BlackRock hasn't filed for an XRP spot ETF. In fact, the firm reiterated just a couple weeks ago that it actually has no plans to file for an XRP ETF at this time. Remember, it's all in the wordings for these big companies. They're saying they have no plans. And then in the small writing, at this time. Their consistent message for more than a year has been client demand is overwhelmingly focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum with very little beyond that. That's their reasoning for now. But I'll explain to you why this actually makes sense from BlackRock's perspective and beyond. I'm going to come on to my price predictions on XRP. I'm going to come on to what these ETFs actually mean. I'm going to come on to what I think September will hold for the markets, October will hold, November and December in just a second. So make sure you do stick around for at least another 10 minutes. So make sure you are hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. I'll give you the link to the giveaway as well, so you can win $1,000 worth of XRP. You can do with that what you want. You can sell it for Ethereum, Bitcoin. You can sell it for cash. You can buy a nice holiday. You can do what you like with it, and it's a real giveaway from a real channel live on the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But make sure you are hitting the like button and subscribing so we can hit that 100,000 goal. So, regulatory runway. Until recently, there was no CME-regulated XRP futures market, which the SEC typically relies on as a market of significant size when approving spot ETFs. CME's only launched XRP futures in May 2025. So, BlackRock wants to see the futures trade. The SEC wants to see the futures trade. That's why the XRP futures were approved first. We saw the same for Bitcoin. We had Bitcoin futures first. We saw the same for Ethereum. We had Ethereum futures first before we got the Ethereum spot ETF. Now we're getting the same playbook again. XRP futures, leveraged ETFs are all out. The next step is the spot ETFs. So another reason BlackRock is waiting is legal clarity. They didn't want to jump in while there's an ongoing lawsuit. So the legal clarity. Ripple's long-running SEC case is now effectively closed, with a $125 million penalty and restriction on institutional sales, while exchange sales were not deemed securities. That clarity only finalized this summer, making regulatory ground much firmer but still fresh. Commercial calculus. BlackRock is already making enormous fees from its iShares iBit, iShares Bitcoin ETF, ticker symbol iBit, and nearly 88 billion in assets, and its iShares Ethereum Trust ETH with roughly 15 billion. From their perspective, there is little urgency to move to take the first mover risk in XRP with other issuers. When other issuers are willing to test the waters. That's exactly the playbook from these massive companies like Apple. They will let the other ones take on the risk. They'll see how the market reacts to it. They'll see what the demand is, and then BlackRock in one day can go, we want an XRP ETF. They will file it, and once the rest of the ETFs are already live or about to go live, they might file it in September, October before the ETFs are live, or straight after, and the SEC will approve it within a day. That's the sort of advantage these massive companies have. So, who has actually already filed for an XRP spot ETF? Well, we've got major ones. We've got Bitwise, 21 Shares, WisdomTree, BlackRock, and I've created this, not BlackRock, sorry, Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, and I've put these all into a list so you guys can see it very clearly. I created this table for you. Remember, you get insights like this in the newsletter. First link in the description. And also, if you're watching live, it's in the chat right now. These are the issuers. These are the dates that the SEC first acknowledged it. Remember, the SEC acknowledges these and then has a 245-day deadline until they actually have to approve it or deny it. Between that, they can extend it, they can approve it, they can deny it. But on the 245th day, they have to make a decision. And look at these dates. October the 19th, October the 18th, October the 20th, October the 24th, October the 25th, October the 25th, October the 25th. I think all of these are going to be approve. And so does Bloomberg analysts. These Bloomberg analysts, their whole job is to look at ETFs and do their research, and they have given it an over 95% chance that we will get an XRP ETF this year. And when does that actually make sense? Well, it makes sense for it to happen on the 245th day deadline. They'll leave it to the very end. That's what the SEC normally does. And the good thing is, they're all bunched together. The SEC doesn't really want to give a first mover advantage, but all of these ETFs are clustered together. Another reason why I think they're going to be approved in October. So what does this mean? Well, the market's going to catch on at some point. The broader market, whether they're XRP holders or Bitcoin holders or traders, they're going to catch on to the fact that in October, we're going to have a 95% chance, and my approval is pretty much confirmed at this point, that we'll have an XRP ETF. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to play on the market's emotion, the retail investors' emotion. And what's that going to be? Well, buy the rumor, sell the news. We see it over and over and over and over again. And how do I think this will play out for this exact trade, this XRP ETF? Well, I think people are going to start buying the rumor in the month of September. Probably just over a month from when we get the XRP, just a month before these deadlines are coming to an effect. So maybe by mid-September, we will start seeing the buying the rumor. Everyone's going to start getting excited, whether it's the XRP holders or whether it's a completely other crypto community or whether it's institutions. They're going to start getting excited that these ETFs are probably going to get approved. That sentiment's going to go around the market. And in September, not August in my opinion, but in September, we're going to start seeing buy the rumor. Big buy orders, institutions buying, retail buying, emotional traders going leveraged into XRP. And that will probably lead to XRP's price breaking all-time highs and start heading to its first bull market target. And my first bull market target for XRP is between $4.20 and $4.70. So I think the month of August is going to be sideways. We might have a liquidation event where XRP might go down as low as $2.62. In the month of August, and I'll tell you one of the things that can actually lead to that. We're coming on to that in a second. The risks of this and what can actually potentially enter us into a bear market before we even have an alt season, or just cause a liquidation spike. Anyway, that liquidation spike could take us to the bottom of the range, $2.62, or potentially end the bear market. But we'll come on to that in about 5 minutes time. But that's the month of August, sideways. Month of September, I imagine we'll break out from all-time highs. Everyone's going to start getting excited about an altcoin season and the XRP ETFs, and that'll probably take us to our first target of between $4.40 and $4.70. These are some bold predictions. No one ever makes predictions on a month-by-month basis, and I'm here doing it because I want to share my thoughts and opinions. I'm probably going to be wrong. Do I think I'm going to be massively wrong? No, I think this is, in my opinion, I think I'm quite confident in my analysis of this. That doesn't mean take it as financial advice, because anything can happen. Do I think I'll be exactly spot on? Probably not. We'll adjust if we need to adjust live on the show. We're live every single day, so make sure you tune into all our shows, especially on the important updates. So all you have to do for that is subscribe and ring the bell. But in the general sense of October sideways, that's already played out. The double top in July, I said we'll go down to $3. We did. I said we'll go down close to $2.62. We did. We predicted this massive breakout. It happened. We predicted the 50% drop at $3.40. That's happened. We predicted a major breakout in November and December of 2024. That's happened. We predicted the Bitcoin dominance collapse back in November, December of 2024. That big run from about 50 cents to $3.40. That happened. We predicted the case will come to an end and XRP will be deemed not a security. That happened. We bought XRP at 30 cents because we thought that was near the bottom. That happened. So a lot of these things do happen. What didn't happen? Well, we didn't get $10 within 7 days. But if you actually read the fine details of what we were saying and not just the headline, we were saying that's not the highest possibility. But if we're going on an altcoin run, you get $10 within 7 days. But as soon as we saw that double top and losing strength, we pivoted from that idea. So that's the disclaimer there. I will probably not be right in the sense on if we're just taking today's video and coming back to it in 2 months' time. We will adjust if we need to, but my thoughts and opinions today are this. August, sideways. September, buy the rumor. October, probably going a bit higher, but then sell the news once the ETFs come out. Once the ETFs actually come out and you start seeing everyone get excited that altcoins are now having ETFs, and that will be XRP, probably Litecoin, Solana, then we'll go into our final altcoin season. And if you've experienced an altcoin season before, then what you're looking at is face-ripping rallies, left, right, and center. You throw your money in any crypto, it probably goes up at that point. But they don't last that long. Between 2 weeks and 2 months, these altcoin seasons last. And in that final run between October, November, December for XRP, I imagine XRP will hit all of these targets: $5, $6, $7, $8, and then potentially top out somewhere between $8.50 and around $13. I don't think we're going to go to $50, $100 a cycle. I don't think there's any sense in that. I will be taking profits all the way from $4.70, $5.30, $6.37, $7.41, $8.51. I'll be laddering out. That's just my strategy. I have no idea what your strategy is. Maybe it's not even right for you to invest in crypto. That's the case for most people. It's too high risk. It's not in your you're too emotional. You're too much of an emotional trader. I don't know what your situation is. I'm not telling you what to do. These predictions aren't based for you guys to make any actions for. I'm documenting my journey. I'm showing you my thoughts. We're going to go through this every single day together. So that is, I want to definitely make sure that's clear. My strategy personally is a laddering out strategy. That's why I'll be laddering out at these levels. So even if we top out lower than I expect, I managed to secure some profits because I've been holding from 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. So I want to make sure I take profits this cycle. I don't want to be holding throughout the bear market so that I can wait until next cycle. If that happens, I'm prepared for it. Remember, I'm prepared for the upside, I'm prepared for sideways action, I'm prepared for downwards action. But let's continue with the ETF. So October, I believe the ETFs will be approved. Exactly when? Between October the 18th and October the 25th. And funnily enough, there's going to be Litecoin and Solana and other altcoin ETFs probably being approved around the same time. That's going to spark an altcoin season, in my opinion. So back to Blackrock. You can actually take this as a bullish. I look at it as a bullish indicator that Blackrock isn't filing right now. Because approval of any XRP ETF will still open regulated buy channels regardless of BlackRock's involvement. I think there'll still be inflows. We actually have Martyn calling in. So what I'm going to do is the show. Let me get Martyn onto show. I think he's got something exciting here. Let me go here. Martyn, welcome into the show. Oh, a little glimpse. I don't know what it was. Martyn called in and he left. Did everyone see that? I'll come back to that shortly. What was that? Little glimpse into the future, I think that was. Anyway, so I think it's bullish because right now we've got enough ETFs to get excited about. We've got enough XRP ETFs to be excited about. However, if this could be another catalyst. Once BlackRock announced they're going to file an ETF, or once their ETF gets approved, because theirs will probably get approved in a day, that's another bullish sentiment. That's another piece of news that will push XRP higher. We don't want BlackRock to be part of all of this. We want them to have their separate news story that will bring more investors into XRP. We've already got all of these investors. We've already got all of these ETFs that investors are going to get excited about. Just an XRP spot ETF within itself is enough to get the market excited. A second wave of bullish news for XRP will be BlackRock has filed an ETF for XRP. I don't care if they're going to miss out. They're missing out right now. It's not my problem. But the good news actually is when BlackRock say they're going to announce or bring out an XRP ETF, they're going to move the markets once again. So I look at it in a bullish way. So that's why I think it's actually quite bullish that they haven't applied. I'd rather they actually apply in it once the market's going a bit crazy later on. I think we've got Martyn calling in again. Let me bring Martyn on the show again. Here we go. Martyn, you're live on the show. There
Hello,
he is.
how you doing?
We're doing well. Wow, look at that.
Do you want to go full screen on it? Go on full. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me go.
All right. I'm very, very busy.
You're full screen now, Martyn.
What do you think? How's it look? Are we getting?
It looks great, Martyn. We love it. Look at that. They're massive. Oh my God, we're getting ready for the 100,000 subscriber special. Look at this, guys. This is incredible. And the giveaway will come alongside all of this. 100,000 subscribers. We love it, Martyn. Look at that.
And also, I put on my X post today to tell everybody that I want to give prizes, loads of prizes away to everybody that's helped support the channel. So essentially, on top of the 100,000, the $1,000 XRP, what we're also going to do is we're going to have lots of other prizes, because every engagement you do, every like, every repost, every comment is being counted now between now and the day we do the competition. So we're going to pick the top people that have done the most things. There'll be quite a few, loads of prizes for as many people as possible. We really want to thank you for your support. And it's a support everybody that's been positive and done everything they can to help the channel grow. So it's not just going to be one star prize. There's going to be lots of prizes. So if you want to go back onto X, repost everything, like everything, the more engagement you do, the top people that do the most, it's all being counted, and you'll all get prizes. There's just going to be so many prizes. I'm so excited. It just is too special to pass it up. So I hope you like how it's going. There's a lot more. This is just the beginning. I promised you it'd be the best live streamed 100,000 celebration ever on YouTube. You know, Mr. Beast didn't do it like this. There was a few streamers and a few balloons at 100,000. We're going to have the best live streaming event with a star prize and so many other prizes. Everyone's going to get something. Just if the more you do, if you want to go onto X now and repost the last month's repost, like everything, share everything. We're going to reward everyone that's been there and done the most, because this is your channel. You built this. You are all of these zeros. And I'm going to carry on. The studio is just getting started. Also, what we're going to do is the extra channel now is going to be all about the 100,000. So that the extra channel is going to restart, and you're going to see this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week going around on the main channel. So on the extra channel, it's going to be building up, building up, building up. So it will be the best giveaway ever on YouTube. It will be the best celebration ever on YouTube. And I want to thank you, because it's the greatest job in the world. And I absolutely love it. I've got this, look, this just came a minute ago, right? This is one of many, right? There's going to be more of these. So can you see? I don't know if you can see that, but there's going to be, I don't think you can see it yet. Let me turn these lights out a minute. There's going to be a camera revolving around the room. There's going to be hidden messages on the walls, things that you can repost, competitions and stuff like that. There's going to be loads of stuff going on. I'm going to be working on it. I don't know if you can see. I don't think you can quite see at this angle. No, I don't think you can. But anyway, Sensei, you're doing a great job. You've got a wonderful audience this afternoon. And I'll hand it back to you. Go on to X, share everything, repost everything. Everybody who gets involved is going to get something. It's going to be great. And I love you all. Sensei's back to you.
Thank you, Martyn. Oh, that is brilliant. I need to do something here. I feel left out now. What can I do? I don't really have much space behind me. I need to do something for 100,000. But we look forward to that. So as you heard what Martyn said there, he announced that if you go and just go and repost, go and like, go and engage, go and comment on YouTube, go and repost on X, go and reply to my newsletter, just go and make your presence known. We're going to be counting these, and there's going to be additional prizes for people that engage with the channel, engage with our social media, and we'll make a note of it. We'll count everything from now on, and there'll be extra prizes in addition to our $1,000 giveaway, and I'll give you more on the official $1,000 giveaway in just a second. back to XRP. So I think Blackrock is going to file an XRP ETF. While Blackrock insists it has no plans at this time, several factors suggest it's only a matter of when, not if. Regulatory clarity is here. With the Ripple case resolved and CME XRP futures now trading, the two main obstacles for Blackrock could cite have been removed. There's no reason they shouldn't really get involved now. Maybe just another reason of they want to see what the demand is for the XRP ETFs, but I'm sure their analysts know it'll be pretty high. They've got the proven template. Blackrock has followed the same pattern with Ethereum, waiting until client demand and regulatory footing were solid before launching their ETF. XRP fits the same mold. We've seen this before, and we'll probably see it again with XRP. Competitive pressures. If issuers like Franklin, Bitwise, WisdomTree win approval and attract inflows, but BlackRock risks losing credibility as the ETF leader if it stays sidelined. They don't want to do that. Distribution advantage. Once the SEC framework is proven, BlackRock can enter late and still dominate via its scale and Wall Street relationships, just as it did with Bitcoin. There is no... As soon as these ETFs get approved, if BlackRock files, the next day they'll get approved, in my opinion. So I'm pretty much 100% sure that BlackRock will file, but just not yet. And I don't care because that just gives us another catalyst. So when BlackRock files, we're looking at a liquidity surge. We're looking at sentiment coming back into XRP and another wave of buys for XRP. It shows that there's going to be mass adoption happening. And obviously that will affect the price, and I think the price will certainly go up. So what can these XRP ETF inflows look like? Well, within the first US spot Bitcoin ETF, when it launched in January of 2024, it attracted about 4.6 billion worth of net inflows in their opening week. I think we can get 10 to 30% of that. So we are looking about potentially $1 billion worth of inflows for the XRP ETFs in the first week. I think it'll be more than what Ethereum brought in a bear market at 500 million. I think we can double, triple, quadruple what Ethereum brought in. So even if XRP ETFs capture even 30% of Bitcoin's first week inflows, that would equate to roughly 1.4 billion in new inflows during launch week. For comparison, XRP's current market cap is around 37 billion, meaning such flows could represent almost 4% of its total market value in just a week. And remember, that will increase more than 4% because the float is lower than that. So why does this matter? Price impact. Even if actual inflows are spread across multiple issuers, the structural bid can create meaningful upside pressure. A legitimacy effect. A Bitcoin dollar launch would confirm XRP's position alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum as one of the only 3 digital assets with institutional grade ETFs. Momentum loop. Strong early inflows would likely force lagging institutions, including BlackRock, to accelerate filings, compounding adoption. So again, I've already told you about my timing. August, sideways, $2.60 to $3.50. September, the sentiment can change. Sentiment can certainly change to more of a buy the rumor. Everyone starts talking about ETFs. We start getting new all-time highs for XRP in September. By October, the real catalyst arrives. The SEC faces final deadlines with multiple XRP ETF applications alongside the decisions for other altcoin products such as Solana and Litecoin. That brings me on to Litecoin could potentially be quite a good buy at these levels if their ETF does get approved. Again, not financial advice, but I am looking at it. That cluster of rulings means that market will not be able to hide from the impact, approval or denial. If approval comes through, the announcement itself could trigger a sell the news dip in the short term as traders take profit, but once inflows start landing, the structural bid should fuel a second wave rally that extends beyond XRP into a broader altcoin season. So now we come on to the risk. Now what can remove all of this fun, what can be a severe risk to our portfolios, and we have to look at the other side. There is some certain macro issues going on right now that can affect this whole prediction, this whole outlook. So this is what we need to keep an eye out for. There's no investment without a risk. If there wasn't a risk, you wouldn't make money. So macro risk to watch. While the ETF calendar is the dominant crypto catalyst, the macro backdrop cannot be ignored. We covered live on the show, and remember, we cover all these events. We'll be going through it every single day, so please subscribe, get us to 100,000 subscribers, hit the like button, and you receive so much for doing all of that. So July's PPI, Producer Price Index, a way of looking at inflation, absolutely shocked the markets and me live on the show, with its sharpest increase in more than 3 years. If that strength flows through into next month CPI, if we start seeing this in CPI data next month, it could derail expectations for Federal Reserve rate cuts. And we're looking at that, and the evidence is already starting to come through. Before we got PPI, there was an 100% chance that we would get at least one rate cut. There was even a chance that we would get a 50 basis point rate cut. That 50 basis point rate cut has now been eliminated. And in fact, now we've even got a 15% chance that the Fed won't even cut rates on the FOMC day, which we're going to be covering live once again on the 17th of September. So 17th of September, as I said, the middle of September, we're going to start probably seeing the buy the news. The only thing, in my opinion, that can put an end to that is if rates don't get cut. We're expecting them to be cut, and if CPI and PPI, and a way to sort of tell that before the FOMC report, because it all comes down to rate cuts. FOMC report 17th of September. That's when they're going to decide, is there going to be rate cuts or not? We normally know before if there is or isn't. And how do we know before? How do you get ahead of what is going to happen on FOMC day? Well, you look at the event before, which is going to be CPI and PPI. We're going to be covering those before. What are we going to look at before that? Well, the Jackson Hole speech, which is happening this week. We're coming into a new trading week, and this week we're going to be covering a speech from Jerome Powell, where he'll be discussing what that PPI means. And this week we're going to get an answer to whether there is a risk, and this risk is greater than anticipated or less than we think. So we're going to be covering all those events, and that's why I said our outlook can change based on these events. So we've had bad PPI. Is that going to come into consumers? Remember, PPI is what sort of the business inflation is. Is that going to be passed through into the consumers, or can they absorb that price increase themselves, or is it going to come into consumers? Well, we'll know about that potentially as early as this month with the next CPI report. Next month. Before the FOMC meeting. So bad CPI, it could derail expectations for Federal Reserve rate cuts. Without easing, liquidity conditions remain tighter than risk assets, including prefer. On top of this, if the US unemployment data starts to tick higher, the Fed might find itself boxed in, and this is the situation, which is probably the worst situation, where it's unable to cut rates without stoking inflation, yet pressures by weaker labour markets. That's the worst position the Fed can be in, when unemployment is going up and inflation is going up, because if you increase or if you hold rates where they are, you bring inflation down. If you bring rates down, then you help the labour market. And those two don't really go together. So hopefully we don't see that. Also, another risk is Japan. So globally, Japan looms large. Any move by the Bank of Japan to raise rates further risks destabilizing the global carry trade, where investors borrow cheaply in yen to fund high-yielding assets abroad. A shift here could trigger forced unwinds and broad-based liquidations across equities, bonds, and crypto. So two big risks there. One is inflation. One is the carry trade, or if Japan start raising rates, which there's a 40% chance they will.
At Secrete Superhuman donated £2 through a super chat. What are your thoughts on XRP market cap multiplier?
XRP market cap multiplier. Thank you for your super chat. I will be looking out for your name. Can you just explain that a bit further? Exactly what do you want me to comment on about that? I do think just clarify exactly what you mean by that in the comments, and I'll answer your question. So that's my general outlook right now. Even though I know about the risks, if the risks come out and we drop, I'll probably just buy more, and I might have to wait for the next bull cycle. I won't want that to happen, but hopefully before that actually does happen, we can have an insight into that. And that's why we're covering the trades every single day live on the channel. But aside from that, I think August will continue to be sideways. September would see all-time highs on XRP. October will see more all-time highs, and then by the time we see November, December, it'll probably be the at some point between October to December, there'll be the peak of the altcoin season. XRP will top out. The other coins will go crazy. The smaller market cap coins will go crazy. Bitcoin will probably top out between 150,000 to 200,000. Ethereum will top out probably between 8,000 to 12,000. XRP will top out around the $8 to $12 region. And then you see the other altcoins go up a bit more because their market cap is lower. So let me just go to your comments now. Make sure you have subscribed and hit the like button. Let me just go to your comments before we end this live show / video. Okay. Secret superhuman. If you're talking about what all of these people on X are talking about, and some of these other YouTubers about 1,000 X's and 1,250 X's, I don't believe in any of that. I'm trying to make sure I'm realistic with my predictions. I'm not here for sensationalism and fake news.
At Videotape Memories donated £2 through a super chat. SWFT coin SWFTC, please sensei.
Yes, my thoughts on that. I like it. It'll be a small part of my portfolio. I've done a full video on that. If you want a chart request, you can do a $4.99 super chat. But if you want my thoughts on that, and I think there is a chart request within it, just type in Martyn Lucas Investor, Swift coin, and you'll find my video on that. Only a month old, so the information is still all valid. JJ, but comment again, you are upgraded here now too. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. So, again, in regards to XRP market cap multiplier, I think you're talking about what sort of stuff you see on other videos and X. I don't have an opinion on it. I don't think a tiny amount of inflows into XRP will have a massive impact on the market cap, all those sorts of stuff that come from that theory. I don't believe in it. I don't look at it. I look at the charts. I look at what's possible. I look at the connections, and I don't really look into all of the news around these sorts of phenomenons that don't really actually happen in the real life. They use those to sell videos. Okay, so I think that's all the comments. Did I miss anything? JJ 8board, did I miss something earlier? No. Okay, so I think we're done. For your information, answer to the poll. They will not bypass the amount of money chasing the financial... Okay. So I'm going to see if there's any members. Let me just go into members only mode, and then we'll do 5 minutes of members questions and then end it. Because I want this to come out as a concise video for people to watch later as well. And we're coming up to the end of the Sunday live stream anyway. We normally finish on the hour anyway, so it's worked out perfectly. So I'm going to put this into members only mode, and then I'll answer members questions. So here we go, members only mode. I'll save that. Oh, because of... Okay, so you've replied. So, because a large number of XRP tokens are not available for immediate trading, the supply on exchanges is constrained when new capital enters the market to buy XRP. Yes, that's all true. But it's true with Bitcoin, it's true with it's true with Ethereum, and all the other tokens, and a lot of other tokens. So don't put too much weight onto that, and don't think that because that's the case, that means a small amount of money coming in, or 1,000, it works out to 1,000 times what the price is. If there's inflows of 1 billion, well, I expect the price to reflect that, maybe 2 or 3 times what the market cap is, because of the liquidity pools and stuff like that. If you're watching videos that say if $100 million inflows come in, that means that's $1 trillion worth. That's $1 trillion worth of market cap. I don't believe any of that nonsense, in my opinion. I think they just use this, what you've just explained there, which happens with every other token and a lot of other stocks. to sell videos. This happens all over the board. It's not just limited to XRP. So the reason you've heard about that is because people try and sell videos regarding that. Did you chart Bullish? I'm late on. No, we didn't have a look at Bullish. We can have a quick look at it. Here we go, Bullish. I don't think there's much to chart. There's only been trading for a few days. Yeah, I mean, once it breaks $70, and it probably will, potentially, then you're probably going to drop because that's the level of support. But I'll probably look. There's not enough data to really chart this at all. So can't really do a chart on Bullish right now. We did compare it to other IPOs. It was in the newsletter last week. If you remember, you can still go back and have a look at that. But if it breaks $70, you're probably going to have a bigger sort of correction down. If you hold $70, then we're looking at potentially $75, $80. After an IPO, it's pretty much impossible to know exactly what's going to happen, and I don't want to make any predictions on Bullish at the moment. But as I say with everything, be prepared for the upside, downside, and sideways action. I'm prepared for the downside because I want to buy some. If it's going to stay at these levels, I'm not interested. I've just converted all my XCN into XRP because I believe in XRP more. Is this a wise move? I don't know your situation. If you believe in XRP more, then you'll be annoyed that you didn't put more into XRP. When will Ripple find out about their banking application? I don't know the timelines on that, Yolanda. I expect there's a long time horizon for that. I'd imagine by the end of this year. Martyn Studio is looking great. Yes, it is, Namisha. We are looking forward to 100,000 subscriber day. That would be amazing. I want to request a full project review of Kita. Please let me know the requirements. Thanks. Kita, Audio Active Productions, a full project review. I will leave that up to you. I don't have a set price. If you want to, we did chart request $4.99, a full project review. Set your own price, Audio Active Productions, and then we can do it. Probably not on this stream, but if you put it in, just like Martyn does, I'll put it on a list. If other people do other reviews, then yours might be bumped up and down, but no one else really does a full project review. So if you want me to do a full project review, and again, I might not be the best person for the job because I look more at charts, but I can certainly potentially dedicate a part of the newsletter to it where I spend some time researching it. Whatever you think you want to do. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, if you do that in today's show, then I'll do a deep dive on it. I'll do a full section dedicated to it. If you want me to just do it on YouTube, then you can do a super chat and I'll put it on a list and I'll get that done for you. How low do you think XRP will go down to in the bear market? It depends where it tops out. If it's already topped out, well, it can go down to 50 cents or below $1. If we're looking at $10, then potentially it comes back down to $3, $2.50. But we'll have to see where it tops out. Probably a 70 to 80% correction in a bear market. Key to project fundamental review. Yeah, we can do a full video on it. Fundamentals, chart, everything. Thanks, Sensei. No worries, Rallo1. Evening, Sensei from good old Yorkshire. Welcome into the show. We love to have another UK person here. Another person from Great Britain. I think the SEC are waiting for Blackrock to publicly share that they are applying for ETF, and this will likely be the first ETF, as is suggested, to be granted. Yeah, it can be. What do I actually think will happen? Well, they will either apply between now and October, but they've made some comments that they don't want to apply. So I think they'll probably apply once the other ETFs are live. So maybe November, December, other ETFs are already live. They apply, they get approved the next day. So maybe October, end of October, beginning of November, they'll apply and the next day they'll get approved. If XRP goes to $10 in this bull run, will it hold there or drop back down to, it'll probably drop back down. Yeah, in a bear market, it'll drop back down. To get to $10, we need to get euphoria. We need to get absolute euphoria. We need to get everyone everyone's emotions really heighten, everyone starts buying more, everyone's FOMOing in, everyone's going at high leverage, and then you get that FOMO, and anytime you get euphoria in any market, at some point it will come crashing and burning down, even if it's the best asset in the world. So yeah, I do think if we get $10, we'll probably drop back down. Do I know if it's going to what price it will drop back down to? If we go to $10, $3 is very likely to come back down to. Yes. What are your thoughts on Flare at the moment? I'm bullish on Flare. It will have its pumps, it will have its dumps. Pumped recently, dumped recently. Audio Active Productions, please share a link for the newsletter and I'll subscribe. Audio Active Productions, there we go. We'll do a full deep dive for you, Audio Active Productions, just for you. We won't do this all the time. But since you're our first fundamental analysis, there's the link. Once you're subscribed, you'll have a way of messaging me directly on the platform. Just send me a message so I know it's you, Audio Active Productions, and just ask for that review. The yearly subscription is the one you're going to want to go for as well. The link is already there. So, and obviously you get everything else. Every single person who subscribes for the premium newsletter gets so much. They get the one-on-one access with me, they get the community, they get the 5 full stories every day, they get the deep dives every single day, they get the charts of the day. I mean, it's the only newsletter you ever need. I mean, I subscribe to about 50 different news platforms, not 50, but like 10, 15 premium newsletter news platforms. All the software we use behind the scenes to subscribe for that, all the alpha spreads, all of those sorts of stuff that we use behind the scenes to then create you the best newsletter. So anyone else who wants to subscribe to the newsletter, the link is there. Audio Active Productions, I look forward to seeing you in that community. So yeah, I like Flare, it'll pump, it'll dump, but at the end of the day, I think it's one of those tokens that will really start to pump at the end of the altcoin season, when it's gone from the Bitcoin, Ethereum, large caps, and then the small caps. And I think that's when Flare will really pump. Once XRP sets $10 and all the XRP investors are rich and they're like, what do I buy next? They'll probably buy Flare. Not financial advice, but would it be okay to sell ETH position to buy XRP? I like both, just wanted to see which one potentially. I think Ethereum is probably going to go on its run. It hasn't had a massive run this cycle. Yes, it's already had a big run, 1,500 to 4,000, but I think it's sort of Ethereum season in the month of August and potentially beginning of September. So that's why I'm holding my Ethereum. But at some point, I would want to rotate my Ethereum either to XRP if XRP hasn't pumped yet, or into some altcoins, because I'm not really a long-term holder of ETH because it's so volatile. And it doesn't. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion and how I look at it. So I like to hold Ethereum and XRP at this stage, but at some point I will be looking to sell my Ethereum to either buy XRP or altcoins. I don't know what's best for you. Thoughts on Moonshot flagship prod token? No, have no thoughts on that. Haven't even heard of it. Need $100,000 mug. Yeah, no, 100,000 mugs soon. Don't worry about it, Brian. It's coming. Please share the link for the newsletter. There it is. Do you expect ADA getting approval for the ETF in 2025? Thanks from Barcelona. I haven't looked at it. I don't know if it's one of the ones that the Bloomberg analyst said it's going to get approved. Let me see if I can find that thing again. Bloomberg analyst ETF crypto. I don't remember seeing ADA on that list. Trying to see if I can find something on the Bloomberg terminal which gives us access to the ratings. I'm trying to see if I can find it right now. I'm trying to see if I can answer that question for you. Bloomberg. Here we go. ADA, Cardano. Yeah, that's on the list. Let me just take a note of where I found this so I can do it again if I ever need to show it again. ADA, Cardano does look like odds of approval. Bloomberg analysts are giving it in 2025 are 90%. So the ones that are 95% plus are XRP, Solana, and Litecoin, the ones that we mentioned today. But there are 90% chances for Dogecoin, Cardano, Polkadot, HBAR, Avalanche. And then, yeah, that's basically only the ones. So that might be a nice basket of goods. I might start looking at that and start buying some. Final SEC deadlines. I'm going to do a piece on this actually, because that could be quite a nice portfolio, looking at those ones and seeing when the final deadlines or all of them are. Do you think Jasmine will move? I think at the end of the bull market it will. Once it's time for the small caps to move, I think, yeah, it certainly will move. Zelensky said that he's willing to make concessions if Putin is looking promising. Yeah, it's looking good. Hopefully we get a resolution to that terrible war. Fingers crossed they find a resolution to the war in the next few weeks. Yes, sooner the better. XRP long-term 4 to 10 years will be strong. Yeah, I mean, if you don't care about the bull markets, bear markets, then you probably shouldn't. You just put your XRP in a ledger and forget about it. Come back in 5-10 years and hopefully you've made generational wealth. So, time to end the show. Thank you, members, for all your questions. Please do get back to me, Audio Active Productions. You can... Oh, we've just got a massive super chat.
AdRH Max donated $20 through a super chat. Are you watching the mega marketing about to kick off for Pulse Chain? Looks epic. Collision emoji. Chart with upwards trend emoji.
Right. I really thank you for that super chat, but I haven't heard the best things about Pulse Chain, in all honesty. But maybe it's old news. Let me just make sure it's not deemed as a scam before I bring it on. Sometimes we get people super chat with scam tokens. I don't think this is a scam. Well, at the end of the day, everyone should do their own research. It doesn't pop out to me as a scam when I put it out. No. Anyway, to answer your question, no, I haven't seen that. But RH Max, thank you so much for your super chat. Really do appreciate it. And I don't mean to disrespect your token in any way. I just want to make sure our community are safe. But at the end of the day, if you are investing in any of these tokens, please do your own research. Thanks, it's a great show as always. Yes, let's put the ending music on. And let's end the poll. Thank you, Sensei. No worries, RB. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Remember, this is the channel you go to if there's news events, Putin news, Ukraine news, Trump news, stock news, crypto news. This is the one-stop shop. So all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed so you get all of it. Make sure you hit the like button and keep supporting us. There's going to be gifts, giveaways, perks, benefits for everyone, from anyone from now on who keeps liking the newsletters, commenting on the newsletters, promoting the newsletter, going on X, reposting Martyn, going through all his posts and keep making sure you comment on Martyn's posts. He's probably the most important because he's the one who's counting all of this. So make sure you go on Martyn's X and go and comment on all his posts and make your name known so that when it comes to it and we start giving away prizes on the path to 100,000, your name will be top. So keep doing that. As Martyn's just announced, there'll be additional benefits. Hey Sensei, I'm all signed up for the newsletter. I am Enquire user. Thanks. Brilliant. I will have a look at it and we will get your request of, I need to remember what your request was, Kita. I'll write it down. That will be in the newsletter at some point soon. Kita analysis. Thank you, Audio Active Productions. What's that nice music? Well, it's our ending music, actually. It's our ending music. Let's see where this is going. Let me end the poll. Will BlackRock file an XRP ETF this year? Yes, says 74% of you. No, says 25% of you. Let's see where this is redirecting. I don't know if we've got anything. We'll go to the giveaway. So this will take you, oh no, we've got the extra channel there. This will go to the extra channel. That's going to be the watch party for the 100,000 subscribers. Here is the link if you made it all the way through to get $1,000 worth of XRP. If you're still tuning in for that, here is the link. Go and claim your tickets. It's free for all, free to enter. You go through it and you can claim your tickets and get a chance to win $1,000 of XRP. Until next time, and next time is tomorrow morning with the newsletter and all the rest. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, I'll give you the link once more. Get the newsletter before we even go live. That'll be tomorrow morning with our morning forecast show 2 hours before the opening bell in the US every single day. See you tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you all again. Bye-bye.